Marcus's tank Rodriguez had 3 rules for staying alive in the Outer Rim. Never trust a politician, never bet against human stupidity, and never, ever volunteer for a medical checkup. Unfortunately, Station Kepler-7's docking regulations didn't care about his personal philosophy. "Welcome to Medical Bay 7, Citizen Rodriguez," chirped Healy, the station's impossibly cheerful medical droid. Its chrome chassis gleamed under the sterile lighting, and its optical sensors glowed with the kind of artificial enthusiasm that made Marcus want to punch something metallic. "Please assume the scanning position while I perform your mandatory health assessment." Marcus slouched against the examination table, his weathered cargo hauler uniform still smelling faintly of engine coolant and regret. "Yeah. Real thrilled to be here, Doc. Can we make this quick? I've got a shipment of Terran coffee beans that won't deliver themselves." "Oh my. A coffee delivery. How wonderfully mundane." Healy's sensors began their sweep, starting from Marcus's boots and working upward. "Now, let's see what fascinating biological data you're hiding, shall we?" The droid hummed along happily until it reached Marcus's spine. Then something very uncheerful happened to Healy's vocal processors. Oh my. That's quite unusual." The droid's optical array flickered like a broken neon sign. "Citizen Rodriguez, I'm detecting multiple spinal implants with some rather extraordinary modifications." Marcus tried his best to look bored. "Yeah, old mining accident. Doc said the implants would help with chronic pain. Real boring stuff." "Real boring stuff. Mining accident, you say?" Healy's scanner made a sound like a printer having an existential crisis. "These readings indicate life support integration, atmospheric processors, and... oh dear stars above." The droid's voice dropped to a horrified whisper. "The identification tag reads, Survivor Zero Atmosphere Execution Protocol." For approximately 3 seconds, the medical bay was silent, except for the gentle hum of life support systems. Then Healy began shrieking like a smoke detector having a nervous breakdown. "Code Red! Code Red! Impossible biological anomaly detected. Galactic Tribunal execution survivor in Medical Bay 7. Marcus sighed and rubbed his temples. "Well, there goes my quiet afternoon." Emergency lights bathed the bay in angry red as security alarms joined Healy's mechanical panic attack. The droid spun in circles, its arms flailing wildly while it transmitted data to every computer system within a 3-sector radius. "You know," Marcus said conversationally as heavy footsteps thundered down the corridor. "Most people just get a clean bill of health and a lollipop." Station Commander Vex Thornblade swept into the room like a purple-skinned tornado wearing too many medals. His forearms gestured dramatically while his mandibles clicked with barely contained outrage. Behind him shuffled Dr. Patch Kellaway, the station's chief medical officer, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else in the galaxy. "Rodriguez?" Vex's voice carried the authority of someone who'd clearly practiced this speech in the mirror. "You will explain immediately how a simple cargo hauler possesses implants tagged with Galactic Tribunal execution protocols." Marcus examined his fingernails with studied indifference. "Wow, Vex, you're looking particularly shiny today. New wax job?" "Answer the question, human." Vex's upper arms crossed while his lower ones pointed accusingly. "Zero atmosphere execution is a 100% fatal sentence. No being has ever survived the vacuum of space without life support." Dr. Kellaway finally spoke up, his gravelly voice tinged with professional curiosity. "Actually, Commander, the medical readings are fascinating. His spinal modifications include atmospheric processors, emergency oxygen reserves, and what appears to be a modified circulatory system designed for extreme low-pressure environments. See? Medical mystery." Marcus shrugged. "Maybe I'm just lucky." "Lucky?" Vex's mandibles clicked rapid-fire. "The Galactic Tribunal doesn't make mistakes, Rodriguez. Their records show you were executed 5 years ago for weapons smuggling to rebel colonies. Yet here you sit, breathing our recycled air and making inappropriate comments about my appearance." Security officers filed into the room, their weapons humming with barely restrained energy. Marcus noticed they kept their distance like he might spontaneously explode or break into song. Dr. Kellaway leaned forward, his weathered face creased with interest. The implants show signs of black market modification. Whoever installed these knew exactly what they were doing. This isn't luck, Commander. This is engineering. Right, so we've established I have fancy spine jewelry. Marcus slouched deeper into his chair. Can I go now? Those coffee beans aren't getting any fresher. Vex slammed one of his hands on the interrogation table. You were convicted of supplying weapons to the Epsilon Colony rebels. Weapons that resulted in the deaths of 3,000 tribunal peacekeepers. Alleged weapons, Marcus corrected. And for the record, I was framed by my business partner. But hey, who needs evidence when you've got a perfectly good scapegoat, right? The evidence was overwhelming. Vex's purple skin deepened to an angry violet. Shipping manifests, financial records, testimony from your own crew, testimony from my crew who were mysteriously all found dead in a tragic cargo bay accident the day after my trial. Marcus's casual tone sharpened slightly. Funny how that worked out. Dr. Kellaway's eyes narrowed. You're saying you were innocent? I'm saying the Galactic Tribunal's justice system makes a rigged carnival game look fair and balanced. Marcus finally met Vex's four-eyed glare. But innocent or guilty, someone decided I needed to take a long walk in hard vacuum. The fact that I'm sitting here having this delightful conversation suggests their execution method needs some quality control improvements. The room fell silent, except for the whisper of air recyclers and the distant hum of the station's engines. Security officers shifted nervously, unsure whether they were guarding a dangerous criminal or a cosmic joke. Vex's communication device chirped urgently. He listened for a moment, then his skin color shifted from violet to something approaching white. What is it? Dr. Kellaway asked. Vex's voice carried a tremor that hadn't been there before. Enforcer Prime Kayla Dex is requesting immediate docking clearance. She's carrying a tribunal warrant for Marcus Rodriguez. Status: re-execution authorized. Marcus smiled without humor. Well, this just got interesting. Dr. Kellaway poured himself a cup of coffee that looked strong enough to strip paint. All right, Rodriguez. Kayla Dex has a reputation for turning entire space stations into scrap metal when she doesn't get what she wants. So maybe it's time you stopped playing games and told us exactly how you cheated death. Marcus stared at the ceiling tiles as if they contained the secrets of the universe. You really want the whole sob story? Fine. 5 years ago, I was running a legitimate cargo business with my partner, Vance Meridian. Good old Slick Vance, we called him. Guy could sell ice to a Signian and make them thank him for the privilege. Get to the point, Vex growled, all four arms now crossed in universal impatience. The point is, Slick got greedy. Started using our shipping routes to move illegal weapons without telling me. When the tribunal started sniffing around, guess who became the fall guy? Marcus's voice carried the bitter edge of old betrayals. Slick had already prepared evidence showing I was the mastermind. Shipping manifests with my authorization codes, financial records showing payments to my accounts, even testimony from crew members who'd been bought and paid for. Dr. Kellaway leaned back in his chair. So you were genuinely innocent? Innocent as a newborn Altarian puppy. But the tribunal doesn't care about guilt or innocence, they care about efficiency. One trial, one verdict, one execution. Case closed, justice served, move on to the next poor bastard. The station's communication system crackled to life. Commander Thornblade to Interrogation Chamber 7. Enforcer Prime Dex's ship is now in docking range. Estimated arrival, 15 minutes. Vex's mandibles clicked nervously. Continue your story, human, quickly. Marcus sighed like a man carrying the weight of several worlds. The thing about zero-atmosphere execution is it's supposed to be foolproof. They strip you down, inject you with a paralytic so you can't struggle, then eject you into hard vacuum through an airlock. Average survival time is 90 seconds before your blood starts boiling and your lungs collapse. But you had the implants, Dr. Kellaway said. I had the implants, but not the modifications. Those came later, during the 3 months I spent in tribunal custody waiting for execution. Marcus's expression grew grim. See, I made friends with another condemned prisoner. Guy named Felix Cortez, former black market cybernetics engineer. Felix was dying of neural decay, had maybe weeks left. What did he do for you? Vex asked, despite himself becoming interested in the story. Felix modified my existing spinal implants with parts he'd smuggled in his own cybernetic prosthetics, atmospheric processors, emergency oxygen reserves, pressure regulation systems, even temporary circulatory bypass capability. We had one shot to get it right because Felix died 2 days after the surgery. Dr. Kellaway whistled low. That's impossible. The modifications alone would require weeks of recovery time, and the power requirements. The power comes from my own bioelectric system, supplemented by kinetic energy from movement. Felix was a genius, but he was also dying and bitter as hell about it. He wanted to give the tribunal one last middle finger before he checked out. Marcus stood and paced to the small window overlooking the station's docking bays. So 3 days after Felix died, they dragged me to the execution chamber. Standard procedure, paralytic injection, stripped naked, shoved through the airlock into hard vacuum. And you survived, Vex said quietly. I survived. Barely. The implants kept me alive for 3 days floating in space, but I was unconscious for most of it. When a salvage crew finally found me, my core body temperature was 12 degrees below normal, and my heart had stopped twice. Officially, I was dead for 47 minutes. The room was silent except for the increasing urgency of station communications announcing Enforcer Dex's imminent arrival. Dr. Kellaway broke the silence. What happened after the salvage crew found you? Marcus turned back to face them, and for the first time his expression was deadly serious. That's when I realized something interesting. Being officially dead has its advantages. No one tracks a dead man. No one investigates a corpse. And a ghost can go places and learn things that the living can't. Learn what things? Vex demanded. Marcus's smile was sharp enough to cut glass. Learn that my old partner Slick Vance Meridian is now Deputy Commissioner of Tribunal Justice, and that he's been using his position to eliminate anyone who might remember his illegal weapons business. The implications hit Vex and Dr. Kellaway simultaneously. Before either could respond, the station's emergency klaxons began wailing. Enforcer Prime Kala Dex requests immediate access to Interrogation Chamber 7, announced the station's AI. Compliance is mandatory under Galactic Tribunal Authority Code 77 Alpha. Marcus cracked his knuckles. Well, gentlemen, looks like playtime is over. The interrogation chamber door didn't so much open as surrender to superior firepower. Enforcer Prime Kala Dex strode through the smoking remains like a walking nightmare wearing tactical armor. She stood 7 feet tall, her cybernetic implants gleaming against obsidian skin, and her reputation for property damage preceded her like a cosmic hurricane. Station Commander Thornblade. Her voice carried the warmth of liquid nitrogen. I am here to collect the escaped criminal Marcus Rodriguez for immediate re-execution under tribunal authority. Vex's purple skin had gone completely pale, making his medals look like cheap jewelry on a corpse. Enforcer Dex, welcome to Station Kepler 7. However, I must point out that Rodriguez is currently under station custody, pending investigation of his medical anomalies. Kayla's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on Vex like a targeting system. Commander, my authority supersedes your jurisdiction. The prisoner will be transferred to my custody immediately. Actually, Dr. Kellaway interrupted with the kind of professional stubborn that only comes from decades of dealing with bureaucrats. The prisoner presents a unique medical phenomenon. His survival of zero-atmosphere execution could provide valuable insights into human physiological capabilities under extreme conditions. Kayla turned her attention to the doctor, her expression suggesting she'd rather dissect him than debate medical ethics. Dr. Kellaway, your scientific curiosity is noted and dismissed. The tribunal's sentence will be carried out. Marcus had been unusually quiet during this exchange, studying Kayla with the intensity of someone solving a particularly complex puzzle. You know, Kayla, you're looking good. Retirement suits you. Oh wait, that's right. You're not retired. You're still chasing ghosts for the tribunal because you can't admit you let one slip through your fingers 5 years ago. Kayla's hand moved to her weapon with reflexive precision. Rodriguez, you should have stayed dead. Yeah, well, death didn't agree with my complexion. Marcus stood slowly, hands visible but ready. Besides, someone needed to keep investigating those weapon shipments you were too lazy to trace properly. The case was closed with your execution, Kayla stated flatly. The case was closed because Deputy Commissioner Meridian ordered it closed. Funny how quickly the investigation shut down once I was out of the picture, almost like someone didn't want anyone looking too closely at the evidence. Vex's forearms gestured frantically. Enforcer Dex, surely you can see the irregularities in this case warrant further investigation? Kayla's laugh sounded like metal scraping concrete. Commander, I've spent 5 years tracking reports of a dead man appearing in cargo bays across 3 sectors. Rodriguez has been a ghost haunting shipping routes, asking questions about weapons smuggling, and leaving behind just enough evidence to stay one step ahead of tribunal justice. Dr. Kellaway's eyes widened with understanding. You haven't been hiding from them. You've been investigating. Marcus shrugged with false modesty. What can I say? Death gave me a new perspective on life. Hard to threaten someone with execution when they've already been executed once. Kayla drew her weapon, a plasma rifle that hummed with barely contained violence. Enough games, Rodriguez. You will come with me now, or I will drag your corpse off this station and execute you in hard vacuum again. This time I'll make sure you stay dead. See, that's where you've got a problem, Kayla. Marcus's casual tone belied the tension crackling through the room. I'm not the scared cargo hauler you executed 5 years ago. I'm something new. Something that's had 5 years to learn exactly how corrupt the tribunal justice system really is. Station security officers fingered their weapons nervously, caught between a tribunal enforcer and whatever Marcus Rodriguez had become. Kayla's cybernetic implants whirred as she processed threat assessments. You're stalling for time. Maybe. Or maybe I'm giving you one last chance to walk away before this gets ugly. Marcus stepped forward despite the plasma rifle aimed at his chest. See, the thing about being officially dead is that people tend to ignore you. And when people ignore you, you can go places and see things they'd rather keep hidden. Such as? Dr. Kellaway asked, though he was already backing toward the emergency exit. Marcus's smile was predatory. Such as Deputy Commissioner Meridian's private shipping record showing continued weapons smuggling to 12 different rebel factions across 4 sectors. Or security footage of tribunal enforcers executing witnesses to cover up the trafficking network. Or financial records showing exactly how much the tribunal's senior leadership has profited from illegal arms sales. The room went dead silent except for the ominous charging whine of Kayla's plasma rifle. Impossible, she said, but her voice carried less certainty than before. Is it? Tell me, Kayla, when's the last time you actually investigated a case instead of just executing whoever the tribunal pointed at? Marcus took another step forward. When's the last time you asked yourself why so many of your targets conveniently die before they can testify? Vex's communication device erupted with urgent chatter from station control. His expression shifted from fear to confusion, to something approaching panic. What now? Dr. Kellaway demanded. Vex's voice was barely a whisper. 3 tribunal enforcement vessels just dropped out of hyperspace. They're requesting immediate docking clearance and they're carrying termination orders for everyone who's had contact with Rodriguez. Marcus looked at Kayla with grim satisfaction. Still think this is about justice, Enforcer? The station's emergency lighting bathed everything in angry red as Kayla's weapon wavered between Marcus and the communication device, still chattering with increasingly urgent reports. Her cybernetic eye processed the incoming tribunal ships with tactical precision, while her organic eye showed the first flicker of doubt. 3 enforcement vessels for 1 escaped prisoner? Dr. Kellaway's voice cracked with disbelief. That's enough firepower to sterilize a small moon. Marcus was already moving toward the chamber's emergency exit. That's because this isn't about 1 escaped prisoner anymore. This is about covering up the biggest corruption scandal in tribunal history. Kayla's training warred with her instincts as station alarms wailed around them. Rodriguez, even if your claims are true, resistance is futile. The tribunal's authority is absolute. The tribunal's authority is built on the illusion that their justice system works. Marcus paused at the doorway, his expression deadly serious. What happens to that authority when the galaxy discovers their senior leadership has been profiting from the same crimes they execute others for? The interrogation chamber door exploded inward as station security forces breached the room. But instead of standard security officers, these were Tribunal Enforcement Marines in full combat armor, their weapons already trained on everyone present. Well, that was fast, Marcus observed. Either the Tribunal's gotten really efficient, or they've had people on this station all along. The lead Marine's voice was mechanically distorted through his helmet comm. All personnel will remain stationary. Any movement will be considered hostile action. Vex's forearms reached for his ceremonial weapons, but froze as targeting lasers painted his chest. This is an illegal occupation of a neutral station. I demand to speak with Sector Command. Sector Command has been notified of this counter-terrorism operation, the Marine replied emotionlessly. All station personnel are considered potential collaborators pending investigation. Dr. Kellaway's face had gone gray with understanding. They're going to kill everyone who's heard Rodriguez's story. Marcus smiled with grim satisfaction. Now you're getting it, Doc. Can't have witnesses when you're covering up treason at the highest levels of government. The Marine captain raised his weapon. Marcus Rodriguez, by order of the Galactic Tribunal, you are sentenced to immediate execution. Sentenced to be carried out by combat-grade plasma discharge. Wait. Kayla's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Her weapon was now pointed at the Marine captain instead of Marcus. Under what authority are you executing station personnel without trial? The captain's helmet turned toward her with mechanical precision. Enforcer Prime Dex, you are relieved of duty pending loyalty assessment. Stand down immediately. Loyalty assessment? Kayla's cybernetic implants hummed with increasing activity. I've served the tribunal for 15 years. My loyalty record is unblemished. Your loyalty became questionable the moment you failed to immediately execute the fugitive upon arrival, the captain stated. New protocols require termination of all potentially compromised personnel. Marcus caught Kayla's eye and mouthed a single word. Run. What happened next was a masterclass in controlled chaos. Marcus dove behind the interrogation table as Kayla opened fire on the Marine squad. Dr. Kellaway threw himself toward the emergency exit, while Vex's forearms drew weapons with surprising speed. The small chamber erupted into a plasma light show that would have been beautiful if it weren't so deadly. This way! Marcus shouted over the weapons fire, leading them through a maintenance corridor that connected to the station's cargo levels. I've been studying this station's layout for 3 years. 3 years? Dr. Kellaway gasped as they ran. How long have you been planning this? Ever since I realized the tribunal wasn't going to stop with just me. Marcus's voice echoed off the corridor walls. They've been systematically eliminating anyone connected to Meridian's weapons trafficking network. Behind them, the sound of pursuit grew closer. Heavy boots and shouted orders indicated the Marines were coordinating a station-wide sweep. Kayla's voice was tight with controlled fury. If what you're saying is true, then the tribunal I've served my entire career is built on lies. Welcome to the club, Enforcer. The membership benefits are terrible, but the truth is surprisingly liberating. They reached a cargo bay where Marcus's ship, the Lucky Break, sat among containers of coffee beans and agricultural supplies. The ship looked like it had been cobbled together from spare parts and optimism, but Marcus treated it like a precision instrument. Everyone aboard, he ordered, already activating pre-flight systems. Kayla, I need you to access tribunal communication frequencies. It's time the galaxy heard the truth about Deputy Commissioner Meridian and his weapons trafficking network. As the Lucky Break's engines spun up, Marcus activated a ship-wide broadcast system that he'd apparently modified to reach well beyond normal communication ranges. Attention, citizens of the Galactic Federation, his voice carried across multiple sectors simultaneously. My name is Marcus Rodriguez, and I'm officially dead according to tribunal records, but dead men sometimes have the best stories to tell. The bridge of the Lucky Break looked like a disaster had hit an electronics store, but every jury-rigged system hummed with surprising efficiency. Marcus worked the communications array while Kayla monitored tribunal frequencies, and Dr. Kellaway treated Vex's plasma burns with a first aid kit that was mostly duct tape and determination. Broadcasting on all civilian and military frequencies across 4 sectors, Marcus announced. Ladies, gentlemen, and sentient beings of various configurations, let me tell you a story about justice, corruption, and why being dead is the best career move I ever made. Through the bridge viewports, they could see the 3 tribunal enforcement vessels converging on Station Kepler 7 like mechanical vultures. But Marcus's broadcast was already reaching hundreds of worlds, and the galaxy was starting to listen. 5 years ago, Deputy Commissioner Vance Slick Meridian framed me for weapons trafficking to cover up his own illegal arms business. The evidence was manufactured, the witnesses were bought, and the trial was a joke that would have made a carnival barker weep with envy. Kayla's cybernetic implants processed incoming tribunal communications with increasing alarm. Rodriguez, they're jamming civilian frequencies and issuing kill orders for your ship. Too late, sweetheart. The damage is done. Marcus continued his broadcast while piloting the ship through an asteroid field with casual expertise that suggested this wasn't his first high-speed escape. See, being executed gives you a unique perspective on justice. When you're officially dead, people forget you exist. They have conversations around you, leave documents where you can find them, and generally act like corpses don't have ears. Dr. Kellaway was monitoring news feeds on a secondary console. Marcus, your broadcast is trending across 36 worlds. The Federation News Network is already running analysis pieces. Good. Because what I learned during my 5 years of being a ghost is that Deputy Commissioner Meridian has been using his position to eliminate witnesses, destroy evidence, and profit from the same weapons trafficking he's supposed to be investigating. The ship shuddered as tribunal patrol craft opened fire, but Marcus's piloting kept them just ahead of the plasma bursts. I've got shipping records showing continued weapons deliveries to rebel factions, financial accounts showing profits flowing to senior tribunal officials, and security footage showing tribunal enforcers executing witnesses before they could testify. Marcus's voice carried the satisfaction of a man finally settling old scores. All of this evidence has been transmitted to independent news organizations across the galaxy. Copies have been sent to the Federation Senate, the Independent Traders Guild, and every major planetary government in this sector. Vex groaned from his medical treatment. The political ramifications will destabilize the entire justice system. Maybe it's time for some destabilization, Kayla said quietly. Her cybernetic eye was processing data streams that painted an increasingly damning picture of tribunal corruption. Rodriguez, I'm seeing confirmation of your claims in restricted tribunal databases, financial irregularities, suppressed investigations, execution orders that bypass standard review processes. Marcus grinned as he executed a maneuver that left their pursuers tangled in an asteroid cluster. The beautiful thing about corruption is that it always leaves a paper trail. Criminals can't help but document their crimes because they need records for their own protection. Dr. Kellaway looked up from the news feeds with amazement. 3 Federation senators are calling for immediate investigation of the tribunal justice system. The Independent Planetary Alliance is suspending all extradition treaties. This is unprecedented, and it's just getting started. Marcus brought the ship around toward open space where friendly vessels were already moving to intercept the tribunal enforcement fleet. Because here's the thing about being executed unjustly. It really motivates you to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. The communication system crackled with an incoming transmission from Station Kepler 7. Healy's impossibly cheerful voice filled the bridge. Oh my goodness, Citizen Rodriguez, you've caused quite the medical sensation. My diagnostic protocols are having the most delightful crisis trying to classify your survival statistics. Marcus laughed for the first time in what felt like years. Hey there, Healy, how's the station? Well, the Tribunal Marines are having some difficulty explaining to Federation mediators why they attempted to execute station personnel without due process. It's all very exciting. Also, I've prepared a complete medical analysis of your spinal implants for publication in the Journal of Impossible Biological Phenomena. 6 months later, Marcus sat in the same medical bay on Station Kepler 7, back for another routine checkup. But this time, Healy's sensors detected nothing more alarming than elevated caffeine levels and a tendency toward sarcasm. "Clean bill of health, Citizen Rodriguez," Healy chirped, "though I do recommend reducing your coffee intake. 17 cups per day seems excessive even for a human." "I'll take it under advisement, Doc." Marcus stood and stretched, his spine making small mechanical sounds from the implants that had saved his life and changed galactic history. "Any word on the Meridian trial?" "Oh yes. Deputy Commissioner Meridian was convicted on 473 counts of corruption, weapons trafficking, and obstruction of justice. He's been sentenced to life imprisonment on a very unpleasant penal colony. Justice has been served with a side of irony." Marcus smiled as he headed for the door. "Healy, that's the most beautiful thing you've ever said." "Thank you. Oh, and Citizen Rodriguez? Your next shipment of coffee beans is cleared for departure. Try not to get executed this time." "I'll do my best, Doc. I'll do my best." As Marcus walked toward his ship, now officially commissioned as an independent investigator for the reformed Galactic Justice Council, he reflected on the cosmic joke of his situation. Sometimes the best way to serve justice was to die for it first. After all, dead men tell the best truths.